Right, you're still watching Breakfast Central today, Tuesday, 29th of June, 2021. Now, let's talk about something that really concerns or should be concerning me in a couple of years from now. Hair loss. Now, Africans, both men and women, is on the rise. And over the years, it has become one of the most devastating conditions because it's rarely taken seriously or even, treated professionally. But both men and women are suffering in silence, just like me sometimes. While some opt to accept their fate as it is, others are forced to resort to wigs, weaves, extensions, and, at heavy prices, and all that things we do when we're, going through hair loss, even surgery. Now, while the latter may provide a short-lived sense of, fulfillment, it does not in any way solve the problem of hair loss. Now, prolonged neglect usually ends up at the point of no return, resulting in being completely scalp and bald. Now, hair loss can be genetically related, while in others it is a result of, poor, absurd hair practices. Now, to really break down all of this, I'm joined by a very special guest. He's Dr. Otubanjo. He is the founder of Vinci Hair Clinic that has been helping many men and women restore their hair through clinical treatments. Now, welcome, Dr. Otubanjo, to Breakfast Central. Good morning.
You, Olisa.
Yes, first of all, I have to say, and this is no pun intended, I think you're representing the brand. In terms of when I look at your...
Well, that's a long story because personally, I've always liked this close shave kind of look, right from when I was about 20.
I think I'm going towards your point of sentiment right now. All right, Dr. Otubanjo, you're a hair consultant. You've seen so many people, you've both men and women across the years. You've been in this field. So, but I think what anybody would like to know, first of all, what is the cause of this hair loss for both, whether it's man or woman?
Actually, you've touched on a couple of the causes. I mean, there are genetic causes of hair loss.
Okay.
I mean, you've got to remember hair loss has been with us since...
Okay. So I can inherit it from my...
Yeah, you can inherit it from your mother's side or your father's side,
I hope they are watching.
So hair loss has always been with mankind, right from the biblical days.
Okay.
You remember Elisha in the Bible and all that.
But Samson was a lucky one, apart from Delilah.
Indeed. So you've got genetic causes of hair loss. But what is more insidious now is the hair loss that we find daily, which is caused by, like you said, practices, harmful practices in the salon. So that is really the concerning thing. The genetic one we can deal with, because, you look at your family members, you know that there's probably a predisposition to hair loss. So you could do something about it.
Yeah.
Funny enough, you can't prevent hair loss.
Okay.
Genetically. So if you notice around your family members, that there's a preponderance of males with balding, you think, as soon as you start feeling the signs, we come to us.
Okay.
I can actually prevent baldness.
All right, when they say come to us, you're a doctor, right? So if I have an eye problem, I go to an optician, right? Like, there's gynecologists, there's veterinarian, and all that. So what field can we say, whether specifically or unspecifically, for when I go to a professional for hair loss treatment? What do they call you guys?
Trichologist is usually the term that's used. Trichologist is usually the term used, for people that deal solely with hair.
All right.
But then you don't need to be a trichologist to be a hair loss consultant. It's not a requirement, In fact, the trichologist can do a lot of the treatments that we as a medical aesthetic clinic can do. So,
all right.
Yeah.
When people experience hair loss, sometimes we do have this kind of, I'm going bald, but especially for men and women, like, they keep silent about it, why? Is there any way out of this? Is there a stigmatization with being bald, with society? Why do we have this certain clenched, emotion with hair loss?
It's a very, very personal thing, hair loss, because, you've got to really think of hair as the crowning glory. I mean, that's what, we've always called it. It's what frames the face. Hairline especially is what frames the face. And people have a sense of self-esteem.
So we just hide it.
Yeah, so there's a denial. There's a denial initial. No, I'm not losing my hair. Wife will be telling the husband, "You're going bald, darling." No, it's just the way my barber shapes my. 5 years later, Guys already, his hair's receded, So there's a sense of denial. There's a sense of a loss of self-esteem, and psychologically, hair loss is a really big deal.
Yeah, especially when it comes to the gendered terms, because if it's a man, we can say, okay, we can throw jabs, though we hide as a personal thing sometimes, but for a woman, okay, so that's where it becomes a bit, tricky now.
Yes. And women have the luxury of having wigs and all manners of things to cover the hair loss, and believe me, the vast majority of women use wigs to cover their hair loss.
So when a woman is experiencing hair loss, what kind of reactions do you normally get when they come to you, your clients? What do they say?
Well, they come in a state of panic, for a start. Okay. In a state of anxiety, in a state of real despair, and I've seen so many cases, of women coming to the clinic and literally crying, because of the experience they've had in the salon.
Is there an age demographic to this, a specification of women?
There isn't. I mean, you could get them as young as 18,
a female hair loss at 18?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's the thing about this, hair loss in women and the result of things they do in the salon. We find a lot of salon workers are not really skilled. They're not really qualified, and they're not regulated to do their job properly. Because at the end of the day, what they want is to present the end result. Oh, look at you. Wow, brilliant. Now, what they've done to get to that end result could be a very problematic thing. 6 months, 1 year, 3 years down the line.
Okay.
So there isn't any regulation, especially in Nigeria. You wouldn't get away with a lot of these practices in the US or in the UK where I'm based.
Yeah.
So in Nigeria, there's a hard and fast rule. Oh, let me just put this in there. You look good, blah, blah, blah. You go off, oh, wonderful. 6 months later.
Or the use of some creams or hair
Precisely,
products.
Things that are inappropriate for the skin, or perhaps not being applied properly. But when you got people who are not, I don't mean to be denigrate them, but they can't even read, So simple instructions on the product says, do this and do that. Don't do this. They can't even do that. So, gives you the kind of problems that the hair styling or hair salon industry has. So there needs to be a lot of regulation and a lot of training
going
for
into
this
it.
salon
So it's not
workers.
just about knowing how to use clipper or, hair. All right, so there's an interesting start, for, viewers watching at home. Now, about 90% of African men say that their number one concern is hair loss, and about 64% of African women suffer from low self-esteem because of hair loss. Now, what's the first thing to do when, we start experiencing hair loss? And, can it be treated? What's the first thing we should do when we,
First thing, don't be in denial. Don't be in denial. Come to someone like ourselves.
Okay.
We're specialists. This is what we do day in, day out. Come to ourselves. And the thing about hair loss is the earlier you actually notice the signs and you don't deny the existence of this thing, the easier and the less costly it's going to be for you.
Okay.
And the more effective whatever solution we prescribe will be for you. So it's all about making sure you really catch this thing early enough and come to a specialist that know what they're doing.
That's for people who really have a problem with it, and want to get it fixed. Well, for some of us who want to just just
I don't think anybody wakes up and say, "Oh, I want to go bald." No, I
still have plans.
They'd rather not go bald.
Someone like me who still has plans of having dreadlocks. Is there hope?
Yeah, of course, it's always hope. It's always hope.
All right, thank you so much for coming on the program.
No problem
Dr.
at all.
Ayo Otubanjo, who is the CEO of hair clinics, Vinci Hair Clinics in Lagos and also around the globe, for coming on Breakfast Central and giving us some advice about getting a hand of trichologists to help us with our hair matter. Thank you very much once again on the program.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right, still Breakfast Central on News Central. You're watching the program, and we've got everything covered for you. And don't forget, you can follow us on social media. Well, let's leave Twitter for now. But on Facebook still, Instagram, and also live stream us on YouTube. And catch us live on Star Times channel 274 and on Avo TV channel 23 and Freeview and on Vision channel 247. Well, the social media space was agog yesterday after Burna Boy was announced the winner of the Best International Act Award for the BET Awards. Now, aside that, there were more trends and that we saw. And Elizabeth Musa is here for the latest when it comes to Trend Wave.